name is Nicolene, and I'd like to discuss with you one of my favorite topics, and that is dreaming. And I don't mean dreaming like vision, I mean dreaming like when you go to bed and you sleep at night. So the question I want to answer in this video is, does God speak in dreams, and who is he actually speaking to? So the answer to that question is yes, he speaks in dreams, and we see in the Bible that he spoke to believers and unbelievers. But you do need the Spirit of God to discern and interpret what he is saying. So in Job 33, 14 to 15, it says that God speaks again and again, and man perceiveth not. So, and it says that he speaks when deep sleep falls upon man when he's laying in his bed. So this means that God is speaking to us in dreams, but we often don't perceive it as him, or we don't recognize it. It doesn't mean that he's not speaking. It may mean that we don't know or believe that he is. And so I see this as one of the biggest thieves, or the biggest lies, is that people don't believe God will actually take the time to speak to them in their dreams. And they just believe their dreams are crazy or whatever. But that's, if we can just get past that lie, we'll be able to recognize when he actually does speak. So he speaks to us believers, and he says, and it says in Acts 2, 16 to 17, it says, I will pour out my spirit on my sons and daughters. It says, I'll pour out my spirit on all mankind. Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams. Even on my bondservants, both men and women, I will pour out my spirit. And so this verse basically is the outpouring of the Spirit for every one of us. And I love that it mentions, it takes away gender restriction, because it mentions sons and daughters, male and female. It takes away age, because it's saying young and old, and it mentions dreams and visions and prophecy in the scripture. So if you have the Spirit of God, if you're a born-again believer, you get the Spirit of God in your life, you can have Spirit-inspired dreams. That's what the word says. But we also see that unbelievers in the word received from God in a dream. They didn't necessarily understand it. So Daniel 2 verses 1, just for one example, talks about King Nebuchadnezzar, and he has a dream, and he goes to his magicians and sorcerers because obviously he believed they would be able to tell him what it was, and they could not tell him what the dream meant. And eventually Daniel interprets the dream for him, and he says, well, this dream means such and such and such. And he says only the Spirit of God can interpret. And so that's key to remember. Although he did speak to unbelievers, it's the Spirit of God and the interpreting of the dream that we need the Spirit of God for. We cannot just know what a dream actually means. So with that being said, I want to say this is available to everybody, but you really need faith, and you need to believe the truth that God does want to speak to you in your dreams. I remember when it birthed in my life, we had a special guest speaker that came to our church, and before he came, I had that same scripture that I've read out to you now, that he'll pour out his Spirit and we'll dream dreams and see visions. It actually comes from Joel as well, the book of Joel. But I had that in my heart, and when we got there, I saw that he was actually talking about dreams, and he told us exactly what I'm telling you today, is that God does speak in dreams, and we can actually hear him. So I went home and I took out a journal and a pen in faith, and I said to God, right, I've heard, Lord, tonight that you can speak and want to speak to me in dreams. And so by faith, I want to hear from you. And so I took this journal, and God met me right there at my faith level, and he started to give me dreams, and it hasn't stopped since. And it's become one of the most treasured places in my life. I can't tell you how many things God has actually told us in dreams, prophecy and assignments and warnings, and he's allowed us to pray for people through our dreams, and he can do exactly the same for you. So I want to encourage you today. He is speaking, and we can hear him. We do need the Spirit of God to interpret what he's saying. Meet him. We had one of the things he said was, never let 3 o'clock catch you without a pen. And I love that, because it shows faith, and it shows that we're ready to hear from God. But know this truth, he is speaking in your dreams.